I've got this little guy hanging out on the other window, so I can make sure that things are actually streaming. So waiting for that. Hello everyone. Things are good. We're going to be talking about glamorous rocks, localization specifically, localization for the Glamorous Rocks website that we're working on. I want to get as many things translated as possible. Oh, sweet. Okay, that's working. Okay, great. So, yeah, anybody who's watching this, you can vote on which language I should be working with, and I need the locale, the 2-character locale for it. So like German would be DE, and we have French, that's FR. We have Spanish, that's ES. So yeah, if you want to and you're watching live, then yeah, just in the chat say which language you want me to use for this little demo. And yeah, but there are a couple of things that I'm going to show before I get into that. And that's first, you go to glamorous.rocks. That's a cool top-level domain. And that's going to take you to our work in progress site. So the repo is here, and then to learn more about, so this is Glamorous, the website itself. But yeah, to Glamorous Rocks. Yeah, so we can go to this repo to help out. That'll take you to the Glamorous website repo, and that has some stuff here and whatnot, all the code. The code is a Next.js website, and it's using actually Next.js version 3 beta, which allows for static export, which is super duper cool. We wind up with just static files we can put up on a CDN, makes it super fast. But we can, yeah, it's got really cool features. Anyway, that doesn't actually matter for internationalization stuff. But here there's a link, rc.glamorous.rocks. That's the latest deployment of master for the website. So as you can see, we've got, yeah, just a bunch of stuff. And you can like change things. Let's like make this 15 pixels. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't want that. So it's kind of fun. But everything in here is internationalizable. And I think this is actually currently broken, but in the future, when this gets fixed, if anybody wants to fix it, feel free. But this is, you can go to like the 2-character code .glamorous.rocks, or in our case .rc.glamorous.rocks, and that will take you to that language version of all the content, which is pretty neat. But with Spanish in particular, lots of things are not yet translated. So if you speak Spanish, I would love it if you could help with that. That'd be cool. And with French, we're pretty well covered here. Nice. So if we go, yeah, pretty much everything is already translated for us. But if you could watch the repo, if you're like a French speaker, you watch the repo, and anything you see come in, like changes to content or something, that's a great opportunity to go and update the content. In addition to that, I don't speak these languages. I am a single language speaker, sadly. And yeah, with any pull request, I want to make sure that we have at least one other reviewer who speaks that language as well. And so yeah, just watch the repo, and that would be so helpful to review those translations. So yeah, and these are the only ones that we have. But if you click on this, that says help with translations, I hope, then this is going to take you to contributing documentation.md. This will basically explain, I think, all the things that I'm going to explain to you in this quick video. So yeah, I feel like before we even get into this though, right, there is a link in here somewhere that explains that it's good to set up the repo. I thought there was a link, but in any case, if you go to the root of the project and go to contributing.md in the Glamorous website repo, then this will show you how to set things up. And this actually needs to be updated. We require V8 now. So if somebody wants to update that, that'd be awesome. So we require V8 of Node. And this is how you set things up, and the little tips on how to keep things updated and stuff. Yeah, making a pull request, some tips there as well. Adding yourself as a contributor, that's definitely appreciated. Yeah, and then this is actually really relevant. So as you're working with locales, if you're doing things locally, you will actually want to run it and see what it looks like. Then you can do this. You start the server with the locale environment variable. So like I said, every single deployment or every, like we're using the static export feature of Next.js in the version 3 of Next. And every single locale gets its own build so that we have static files for each one. And we have this cool Babel plugin that I'll show you just for funsies that inlines all of our markdown right into the JavaScript files. And so we need a separate build for every single locale. So then we get static files. And so what's really cool about that is it makes our internationalization as fast as it could possibly be, because it's just as if we'd written the text directly in the JavaScript files where it's being rendered, which is pretty cool. But all of that to say that once you set this up, if you want to actually run the app locally with a specific locale, then you set it when you run npm start dev so that it runs with the right locale. And we have fallbacks, so if it can't find a file for a particular piece of documentation in that locale, it'll fall back to the English version. Yeah. And I think I'm pretty sure this is how you do this on Windows. If it's not, then a pull request here would be appreciated. But yeah, then the rest of this information is in the contributing documentation. So yeah, first off, thank you so much. This is really awesome for like even your interest in contributing documentation, really appreciated. So yeah, let's take a look at the structure here really quick. So I've got the project here, and we've got components, we have pages, and that's pretty much all where the localization stuff lives. And let's just go ahead and look at components first, because it's a little simpler. So we have a bunch of components that we use throughout the application. One of the things that is localized is the nav. So that's, here, let's get back to the RC Glamorous Rocks here just to look at this. So this right up here, the nav is localized. And so if we look at the nav, then here we have this import content from content/nav.md. And you might think that, oh, well, we must be using Webpack and the Markdown loader. Well, we kind of were, but we're not doing that anymore because you can't server render with that. As far as I know, Next.js doesn't support Webpack loaders on the server, which is unfortunate, but it's okay because we have this sweet Babel plugin that looks for anytime you're importing anything from content, and it will replace this whole thing with const content equals this object, and markdown is the contents of that markdown file, which we can find in content/nav.md. And so the contents will be replaced with the markdown. But hold up, actually, that's not entirely what happens. It does a couple extra things, and one of those is you'll notice that we have, if you're not familiar, I wasn't familiar before, but you can actually write YAML in Markdown with these three dashes. And YAML is this more terse JSON type thing. Yeah, it's great. I really actually like that format. But yeah, so it has property key, and you can do arrays and all kinds of things, representations. But in any case, what actually happens with our Babel plugin is it's going to parse the YAML into a JavaScript object, and then it's going to take all of these pieces or all these values and actually stick it on the content object as just properties. And then the rest of the markdown, hello, is going to live inside of this markdown thing. So this would be hello, and whatever. It'll actually not be indented like that. It'll be more like that, something like that. So that's the basic idea of what the Babel plugin does. It actually also can work with regular JavaScript files. It'll do the same thing. But what's additionally cool with this is if you have the locale set, then instead of loading in this nav, it's going to look in here to get this one, so that it gets the right translation, which is pretty neat. And yeah, and that happens at build time. So it's super. What we had before, I realized that we were actually sending all of the content to every user regardless of their locale, which is unfortunate, and now that's fixed with this cool Babel plugin. So yeah, so that's the basic idea of like how things work, and it's actually quite simple once you think about it. So just to review really quick, we turn any import or even a require statement into a declaration for an object that has all of the properties from the YAML, and then the remaining stuff being the markdown value. Yeah, that's pretty much the idea. So as far as localization, nobody is actually recommended. So anybody watching this right now, if I'm gonna like pretend to create something in any given language. So if you want to suggest a language that I do this, then be my guest, and you can even give me the translation. That would be pretty cool. So we can work through this together. So what are the suggestions? What language should I be working things in? I think you're a couple seconds behind me, so I'll wait. First person to say in the Twitch chat. I got 8 people. So what language should I use? Well, people are deciding if I should do another language. One other thing, so for pages, it all works exactly the same, but the pages are all structured similarly. So if we look at pretty much every page, advanced API basics examples, getting started is a little bit different, and integrations, but then index, document, and getting started are all a little bit different. But most of them are pretty much the same. They just have this docs page thing. French. Thanks, Brian, but we actually already have French in here. So any other suggestions are awesome. And we also have the start of Spanish. So anything else? But yeah, so we have a docs page, and here we are doing inline requires, and this is pretty cool. This took me like an evening to figure out how to do well. But yeah, this require is actually going to be inline replaced with the object that has like the markdown and that information. It actually also has a meta thing on here with a file name that'll have the file name. And eventually I hope to have the functionality where we can show on the page whether or not the the translation is out of date, because I can see when the last time the English version was updated versus the translated version, and if the translated version is older, then we can tell it's out of date, or if it's missing. And so we could display that in the UI of the website and say, hey, this is out of date. How would you like to help update it? So anyway, yeah, but that's how the inline requires work, which is pretty cool. And they basically do the same thing. So most of these, let's see, so we've got the index, that's the page content, and for the pages they'll have a title, a heading, and I think if we look at the examples, they can also have a note, and this can be displayed, and maybe we can look at that later. Hello, I'd love to hear something about setting up tools for the project. Yeah, sorry, right now I'm not going to talk so much about the setting up the tools for this project. That I want to talk about localization stuff, sorry, but maybe we can talk about that later or something. I do a lot of talking about tooling stuff though, so maybe I've got a YouTube video out there somewhere or something, but yeah, maybe we could do that another time. Coolio, so yeah, that's what the index MD would be, and then for the individual sections, each one of the rest in this content is a section, and they have a title, subtitle. They can have a code sandbox ID. So here I should actually show you what this is. So here's our CSS grid. So that title is right here. Looks like our link is messed up, so we need to fix that. Then this is the subtitle, and this is the markdown that appears at the bottom. So all this markdown will be rendered there. And then we have this code sandbox. So if a code sandbox ID is provided, then it'll load up a code sandbox right in the browser, which is pretty neat. Yeah, CSS modules or CSS grid with Glamorous. Nice. And then you can also have contributors, and those go down here. So as a translator, definitely add yourself to the list of contributors for sure. Yeah, because you are, and we appreciate you. You're great. Thank you. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that you could add in here. I can't remember, but you can find out for sure. And when you're translating, it doesn't really matter. You just kind of take the what there was before and translate it. But just for the curious, yeah, pretty sure it's just title, code sandbox ID, markdown, which is the actual, like everything else in the file. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and make a translation of something. I'm gonna find something here. I still don't have any suggestions for a language. Boy, well, that's okay. Okay, so here's one that's kind of cool. So this is all written in Markdown, but then it gets rendered in this neat little thing where we can actually do an inline, change. Oh my goodness, 300 pixels. What is wrong with you? So you can like interact with it right in the page. And I'm hoping to eventually change the design a little bit to be editor on the left, render on the right, kind of like Styled Components. Their website. We're taking a lot of cues from Styled Components. Thank you. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that one so you can see how that works. That's the getting started bit. And I'm going to do German because nobody suggested anything. So okay, German is great. So we have basics. What I'm going to do, yeah, one other thing. So when you're starting out with doing the localization, then I want you to create an issue first, or search for an issue. So German. There's nothing in German, so we're going to say translate the site into German. I would like to have this site translated into German. Who wants to help? Yeah, and this way you can coordinate with people. Yeah, and you can say, I'm going to start now. And that way people know like whether anybody else is working on it and coordinate efforts and things. So I'm going to start right here. We're going to do, what section was that? I wanted getting started section. So getting started, what I'm going, actually, sorry, one other thing. Another thing that you'll want to do is, as it says in here, wait, where is it? In the contributing documentation here, it's going to tell you a script that you can run. Sweet. So first run node other/list l10n.js. So, and then you provide a locale. So for us, German, the 2-character shortcode for that is DE. And this is going to read out all the files that are internationalization, like translation files, and it's going to separate them into 3 bits, or 3 categories. The ones that are up to date, the ones that need a translation, and the ones that are outdated. And it does this using Git. So it finds all the English version, and then it checks whether or not a file for that English version exists for the locale you specified. And if it doesn't, then it adds it to this yellow list of needs translation. If it does, it's going to check whether or not that is newer than the English version. And if it's not, then it's going to be outdated. If it is, then it is up to date. So we've got plenty we need to do here. And actually, I'm going to just show you one other script that'll be useful. Well, no, we'll do that toward the end. But don't let me forget. I need to show you another script that's useful. Okay, cool. So yeah, this getting started, we're going to duplicate it, and we'll put it in content DE for German. And yeah, I'll go ahead and start up the server. So we'll say locale equals de, and then npm start dev. And this is going to start up our next site. And this starts us up at port 3000. So, yep. There we go. Just takes a sec. It's building page slash. So the index probably should go like directly to where I'm wanting to go. So it is a little faster. Okay, yeah. So this is actually German. That's why you see the DE there. But it's using the fallback for everything right now. And I think, no, you don't see any logs. So never mind. So we'll go to basic here, basics, and now it's building that page. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds when it first starts, and then it'll be fast. But this getting started section specifically is the one that we want to make changes to. And as opposed to all of these other places where it's actually using the fallback, in this case, it's using our translated version. And so most of the time, you probably don't even need to run the app. You could even just use the GitHub editor for some of this stuff. But yeah, sometimes it could be nice to run the app. And so that's why I'm showing you it this way, because it's a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'll just say, here, let's do an HTML comment here really quick to comment this out. Oops. And we'll say, hello world. I'll hit save. Now, unfortunately, we haven't yet set up, or I don't know if it's even possible to have Webpack be like cognizant of the fact that these files are relevant to our changes, and so it's not going to do any hot module replacement for us, or like even reloading or anything like that. It's just gonna sit there. And so what I've been doing to kind of overcome that is I go to the file where that's relevant, that I care about, this stuff, which is not this one. It is this index.js, where we have the getting started require. And I just add a comment to the bottom, 1, and I hit save, and now it's going to recompile, and I'm going to, it should have hot reloaded stuff. Yeah, apparently something's not working. So I wonder why that is. Rats. Let's try that again. We're in DE getting started .md. Oh, that's interesting. French doesn't have getting started at all. Neither does Spanish. Interesting. Okay, and it's loading, running. Yeah, nothing. Okay, let's try like something totally random. Sometimes the cache can be like busted in a funny way. What? Oh man. We are doing German. That is for sure. This is also super weird, but I love it. Sometimes I'm getting syntax highlighting in here, and there's a pull request open to provide or add syntax highlighting to these code blocks. But that pull request hasn't been merged yet, so I'm not sure why we're getting syntax highlighting. So if you find that out, that'd be cool. I'm not sure what's going on here, because this should totally not be doing what it's doing. It should be showing me the German version. So if I go to the basics page here. Oh, here, let's do this. Getting started, MD. And we'll say getting started. And then we'll log getting started. Then this totally bonkers. Okay, let's change this up. Here, let's just find, we'll just translate it really quick. German to English. Come on, Google. Yeah. Oh, no, shoot. English to German. That's what I want. Getting started. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but maybe that's what it is. And then we'll go in here and we'll make a change. Do some more random stuff. App is up to date. And it's not taking my stuff. That's the title that it's using. Huh. Yeah, it's using the English version when it should totally... Oh my goodness. Okay, so I realized this was really boring and I just lost like half of the people who were watching, but I figured out what's going on. The problem is that we also have a something in here called the config.json, where we have supported locales and fallback locales. Maybe I should just remove that. But it's used in a couple of places, and one of them is the Babel plugin that determines whether or not to use English as the fallback. So we're going to add DE to this, and actually that might have done it for us. Maybe. Nope. So then we'll go like this. And just see, I might need to restart everything since that's kind of like a config level. But that config.json actually has nothing to do with Next.js or anything like that. That's very specific to this project. That we're just requiring that in a couple places. So yeah, hey there, Blue Raid. Hi, thanks for chatting and stuff. Okay, so we're refreshing, rebuilding the basics, and this time we should actually have German. Come on, German. No. Let's just make sure we bust the cache, because the cache is pretty aggressive. There we go. All right. I was about to try and pronounce that word, but I don't want to embarrass myself, so yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. So we have our German getting started, being loaded. And I'm going to plug this into my favorite Google Translate. Oh yeah, wunderbar, yeah. So sometimes Google doesn't realize that glamorous actually is the word that I want to use. So we'll put that back. Yeah, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Brian. So again, it's not going to auto reload or anything when you change the markdown file specifically. Really bad developer experience, and I'm sorry for that, but that's just the way it is. You have to go change a file that it's actually tracking. So yeah, there we go. And then you'll just go through this and translate all the pieces. So specifically for us, this part, let's just keep the indentation there. The href to the YouTube video, you could only change that if you re-recorded the glamorous walkthrough in German. Otherwise, you just provide the English one. That is disappointing, I know, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's the way it is. But definitely translate the alt text and title here. So I'm going to just do that really quick. Video dash screenshot. Okay, I can do that. And we'll just do that here too. I expect this will be changed. Cool. Okay, so now we get to something a little bit more interesting. Whoops. We're gonna move this up. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? Sometimes I forget the hotkeys for the things that I do. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we're going to, I'll just plug this in to Google Translate, and yeah, we can get it fixed later. So we'll save that. We'll just make sure that things are still running smoothly. We'll get the image suite and some language that I don't understand myself. I'm going to remove that console log because it's bothering me, and that require statement because that's also bothering me. Oh, and now we're seeing this message saying that it's using the fallback for all these different other pieces that don't have translations yet, which hopefully is more helpful than annoying. Okay, so here's where things get interesting, and those like other people who already left and aren't watching anymore, they're gonna miss out on something really cool. Oh, Brian just said wunderbar and my last name are the only German words I know. That's awesome. Well, you know one more than I do, so there you go. Okay, so this odd looking thing is actually a code block. So if we were to switch this with JS, my editor is going to be like, oh sweet, I know how to style JS, or like, you know, syntax highlight it, but I don't know how to syntax highlight interactive. And what on earth is this interactive thing? Well, let me show you. Let me just reformat things because Prettier is not gonna recognize this as something that's formattable. Okay, and then I'll go back in here and we'll go back here and it'll auto refresh and it renders this thing, this interactive, really fun, neato thing. So that is what interactive does. Interactive, there's also call out, but it basically means we have a plugin for a markdown parser called Remark, which is amazing. And what it does is for every code block, it looks for the language. And if we did just JS here, then it wouldn't do anything with that code block. It'll just render it as like a JavaScript code block, which is not very fun. And so what we're going to do instead is we say interactive, and it will render it as this cool interactive experience that we can interact with, which is still formatted funny. Let's fix that because that's bothering me. What on earth? There we go. That's where it is. So how is that working? Well, this Remark plugin that we have, when it finds an interactive pragma is what it's called, it's going to take the code that's inside of here and it will use a component for it, and the component is called React Live, and it's amazing, and that's what's responsible for this. And it's going to render like this little editor experience here, and then the rendered version, so whatever you pass into render. So this can be like any React code. It can reference Glamorous. There are a few other things it can reference. If we go to components, it is code preview. Yeah, there it is. Right here, scope. The scope, it can reference Glamorous, Styled System, and Glamour. So those are just like assumed to be global variables that you can access anywhere inside of this interactive piece. I imagine we'll add a couple in there eventually as well. But yeah, it's pretty neat. And then there are a couple options you can provide here as well. And you can find those documented in here where we're talking about pragmas. And I need to remove this little note because that is back in the dark ages of something else. But yeah, so we can provide options by adding a space after interactive, and then something that will be evaled. And this is at build time, runtime, yeah. Yeah, so just we expect to get back an object that has a click to render, and it defaults to false. If we do true, then that'll be interesting. And then the summary is click me. We'll save that. We'll go back here, have it reload our stuff. And now, instead of having it rendered out the big thing that you saw before, it renders this cool thing where you can click it and it expands, and you can make edits at that point and collapse it, which is pretty cool. And that's actually like an HTML element. That's not like a React component or something. It's just something really cool that I recently learned about not too long ago. But yeah, so sometimes it can be useful to say, hey, this is how you do this thing, but like you probably aren't going to do it all that much. So yeah, one thing that is kind of disappointing, but you can't actually put any of these pragma things inside of like HTML. It will break the HTML. So you can do HTML in Markdown files. You don't often do that, but I'm doing that here and in a couple other places. But what ends up happening is, like, because the Markdown parser doesn't actually represent this whole thing as a single node, we can't really parse it properly. And so that's kind of disappointing. It breaks the HTML. So don't try to wrap these pragmas inside of HTML. It won't work. So anyway, as far as like translating and internationalization, localization of this stuff, definitely localize some stuff like this. So we're gonna say translate hello glamorous. Here, it'll just be hello. Yeah, so translate like content and stuff like that. Comments, we sometimes have comments. Please do translate those things. Variables, don't translate those. Okay, so I'm getting something from Blue Raid. He's been using CSS loader, CSS next, style loader, post CSS, manage styles. So I wanted to try something new, but I didn't know what to use. Okay, so Blue Raid, thank you so much for asking those great questions about like what CSS and JS thing to use. I will actually, I'll just give you a link to a video that I recorded recently that might help you at least evaluate Glamorous, and it is concerning CSS and JS, and I'll just give you a link to that really quick. Oh, come on, give me the real link. And you can look at that, just see kind of the idea. And actually on here there was a suggestion to see this CSS and JS tech chat. That was something that I had with Sarah, and she's awesome. And we talk about the merits of CSS and JS and some of the problems and stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully those are useful. But here I want to talk more about localizing, internationalizing Glamorous. So or the docs. Okay, cool. So that's basically the whole experience. We have sort of kind of internationalized this page, which is, yeah, or at least, sorry, this section of the page, which is kind of nifty. And yeah, I don't know what else really to say about that. So yeah, from here on out, we can go ahead and I'll create a pull request. There we go. Let's do that. So let's just check out what have we changed. We changed the config.json, and we, oh yeah, we added that comment. Please don't leave that comment there. Great. And we can add all the things and get, or here, let me make a branch. PR German translations. Okay, and I'll commit adding the first German translations. And this is going to run a Git hook for you. It might not run all of these same things for you, but it will at least run these first 2 bits here. One of the things is this all contributors RC thing, which I probably should show you as well. And it might not even be working, but we'll see here in a second. So if we go to the contributing documentation, I should just leave that open. Then in here, you'll find this add yourself as a contributor. So on the main repo or README of the site, we have contributors to the site, and I think that's great. We also have contributors on the specific pages. For those who have contributed, we haven't actually done a good job of updating that. Most of these will be me, but there are definitely contributions from other people. But if you have contributed anything to like helping build the site or anything like that, we definitely want you in here. And the way that you do that is you do npm start contributors.add, and yeah, we'll specify a username. I'll do mzabriskie, and here in our case we're doing translation. And yeah, if we look at the differences, we're going to see an update in the README and in the all contributors RC. So I'll, oh yeah, it looks like the test broke, which is unfortunate. Yeah, shoot, the locale chooser will be different because we have another language, which is unfortunate. So you should probably not have to do this, and I should probably just update it so that test doesn't check that way. Maybe I can just have it check what the config is or something, but in any case, we'll just update this to be 5. I'm going to need to do some refactoring here, but yeah, so we'll commit all the things, including our changes to all contributors RC, and it's going to run a couple of files. Scripts must resolve to strings. What? Oh, that's the problem that people are having. Contributors.generate. Contributors generate. No. This is package scripts generate. npm start contributors.generate. Let's look at our package JSON. Contributors.generate. Just run that. Did I spell something wrong? Nope. Totally working. You know what? Oh man. It really doesn't matter that much, so what I'm going to do is just remove this entirely. Yep, that will make it not a problem anymore. Cool. Okay, so adding first German translations. It's going to run a couple of things for us. Make sure that we're not busting anything. You probably won't have it run all the tests and everything automatically unless you opt in, which you can do here. This is documented in the contributing.md, but you add this .opt-in file, and then commit message and pre-commit. I should probably, yeah, you don't need commit message, just pre-commit. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, locale chooser. This is not what I want it to do. We're going to change these tests eventually, but not right now. Should probably just add another expect just to keep things up with what it has, but oh, we already have a match snapshot with Glamour. We don't need this stuff. Yeah, let's just get rid of all that. And then I'm gonna run npm start test update. Okay, running the test, updating the snapshots. Okay, cool. So if we look at our status now, we're going to have a snapshot update. Look at the diff. So we updated the README with the new contributor, and we added the German locale. Cool. So that's nice to be able to see the impact those changes made. And our thing got reformatted by Prettier. I kind of wish that Prettier didn't reformat the package JSON, because when you install, it's going to reformat. Actually, I think they don't do that anymore, which is cool. Okay, anyway, so now we're going to run this thing again, and hopefully everything will pass and not be a problem anymore, which would be great. As you can tell, this was not practiced, so sorry if that is a problem. Okay, so we do have flow in the project, which is kind of neat. We need to flow type more stuff. Everything's linted and tested. Okay, cool. So now we can push. Finally, push our stuff. Go up here, and boom! Thank you, GitHub, for the automatic. Stick that thing there. Okay, so adding German translations. I'm recording this. Ta-da! Okay, actually what you will want to do is not delete the whole thing, and just read this out. This is a good thing to read. Basically, thanks for doing it. Follow our code of conduct. Follow the guidelines in contributing MD, and then describe what you changed, or what this commit is actually doing. We're adding translations, German translations via Google Translate to a specific, or to a file, or to a getting started. Why are they necessary? Because we care about Germans. And how are they implemented? You can say whatever you want to say about it, like the code editor. Normally you would say something like where you made changes, why some of those changes were necessary, and if it seems kind of weird, you can just remove that section. Okay, cool. So now we'll create the pull request, then we'll go to files changed. Oh, Matt Zabriskie should probably not actually, I shouldn't have added him for realsies, but I'll fix this later. I'm actually probably going to delete this branch and just commit some of the other changes that I made. But anyway, so yeah, you'll see this, you'll see some of the updates, and yeah, here's our German stuff. This is what you will want. Oh, actually, where's the config.json? Yeah. So this, woo, German. Yeah. So we'll start a review just to add some comments. I'm going to add caveat, I do not know German, and add a review comment, and then we'll just say just a few thoughts, or whatever you want to have say in there, and then try to find somebody who speaks that language natively, who can review it and make sure that things look good. And if they do, then I'll come in here and I'll squash and merge it, and it'll be great. Yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, like one great thing to do, actually as part of the pull request process, is to deploy a working version. So you're gonna need a, let's see, where is it? Deploy. Yeah, right here. You're going to need a account with Zeet now. So you'll, whoops, I got open that in the wrong window. So you'll go here, zeet.co/now, and you'll create an account and sign in. It's totally free. And then you'll set up the CLI locally, which should probably be let's see, it's here, npm package. Oops, where am I? There we go. Okay, and the CLI on your machine, then run this thing. Oh, and actually while I'm here, I'll change this to version 8 or greater, since we're doing this thing anyway. Yeah, and then once you have all that set up, you can run this thing. And for us, we want to deploy the German version, and so we'll do that. Change those from EN to DE, and we'll say, yeah, you don't actually have to specify the locale. That is handled by these scripts themselves. And you just hit enter, and it is going to build things for you. Why is it? Oh my goodness, what misfortune. Okay, so there's a bug in the tool that we're using that like rarely ever shows its face, but in this case it did. Wow, that's unfortunate. So what the bug is, somebody can go and fix this, that would be sweet. But for each one of these, you can have a default. So like test, we have a default, and so if we run npm start test, it's going to default to this. We could also do .update, and it's going to say test.update. It'll run this one. But we could also do test.default, which like doesn't make any sense, because if you're going to do the default, you just do this, right? So we need to be able to like fix the bug where you remove the possibility of running, you know, .default, where like .default is never a thing. So the problem is that we have this build, and that has a default. And when we run test.start build.de, it actually is going to autocomplete to default for us. So I wonder if perhaps, even though we can't always guarantee that the order will matter or will be correct, I wonder if we can just do this, reorder them, and then it will pick up. Yeah, we'll do that. Just kind of hack around the actual problem. But if anybody wants to actually fix that, that would be sweet. So yeah, then we are using fallbacks for tons of stuff because files don't exist, but you will not find the getting started.md file in here. Whoop. Well, except like everywhere else in my terminal history, but you won't find it in that list of fallbacks, which is cool. And this actually is going to take a minute or two to actually run. And when that's finished, we'll have it actually deploy. Get rid of this stuff, that stuff, clean up things a little bit while we're waiting. The build failed. Let's find out why. Lots of output that is not colorized for some weird reason. Okay, validate and build failed, which does like tons of stuff. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's because that default thing. Yeah, that's why there's so much output. It's because that default bug. Okay, cool. Well, this finished, and as part of the build, it is going to create the static version of the site. So if you look in the out directory, you'll see it has our DE, and you look in DE, and it's going to have all of our stuff. So you could actually run an HTTP server on out DE, and you could do like simple HTTP from Python or something like that, but that'll pop up our German version of our page, which is pretty cool. We can go to basics and we'll see our translated section, which is cool. So what we're going to do now is we want to run npm start deploy.de to deploy the German version, and it is going to copy this to our clipboard. We can go to that and we'll get our deployed version. Then we can go to basics here. We'll see the translation. Cool. So then we can go into here, paste that, check it out. Smile. Emoji. They're important. And then people can go look at that and review, like see the context of things and stuff. And if you contribute a lot, then eventually I'll probably add you as a collaborator on the project, and you can create pull requests or from branches that are on the original repository. And then we actually have, as part of our build system in Travis, we automatically deploy pull requests. But we can't do that for forks because then we would allow you to get our like private keys and stuff, and we don't want to do that. So got to build up a little bit of trust. Yeah, cool. So let's I'm gonna go ahead and update a few things really quick just for fun. First I'm gonna remove Matt. I would love to get Matt in on this, but he's not right now, so I'm gonna remove him there. I'm gonna run npm start contributors generate. Yeah, normally the prefixing thing is pretty cool. So that should have updated our readme, which it did. Then I'm going to, let's see, what did I not change that I was supposed to, or what did I change that I wasn't supposed to? It's mostly that. Oh yeah, this thing. Oh goodness. Let's just do this, a little bit of magic. So we're kind of diverting from the translation stuff a little bit. You can tune out if you want to, but I'm gonna change this a little bit to be more dynamic. And less specific to, wait a second. Oh, that's the close state. No, we want it to be here. Ah, goodness. Okay. So, yeah, because I don't want, anytime somebody adds a new locale, I don't want to come in here to update this test. That would be annoying. So I'm going to, let's see, config.json. We'll get those two things. Do equals require config JSON. Sweet. Oh, we need a comma there. And we don't need the fallback locale, do we? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we need that. So we'll just get rid of that. And then for supported locales, we'll say supported locales for each locale. Boom. We'll just stick this in here, and we'll need the index. This is doing some coding inside of your test, which I don't normally recommend, but you know what, that's the way it's gonna be. So not to equal. Why do we not want it to equal that? Oh, right, okay. This English is a special case here, so we'll put that one up here. And then we'll go, whoops. And we'll say at I plus 1, yeah, get DOM node, get the href, and string containing the locale dot. Okay, sweet. So that's the supported locales. We'll get all of those, and then supported locales dot length. I think that's the right one. Should take us to contributing, and then to take this further, we're going to remove the snapshot because otherwise we'd wind up with the scenario where you still have to update snapshots when you add a new locale, and I don't want to require anyone to do that. So yeah, we're not going to. Let me just make sure that the other snapshot. Whoa. Okay, so let me tell you about snapshot testing. This is too much. Don't ever snapshot something that is 3,000 lines long. Yeah, my bad. I reviewed that. That's okay for the person who built that. But we're going to remove that snapshot now. So we're going to npm start test. Yeah, test.update. And that's going to update our snapshots. Sorry, let me see. Yeah, prettier. It's awesome. Okay, wow. Oh, to be the supported locales dot length. Okay, that was the only one that broke, right? So we should be good. Run that again. Hopefully it doesn't take 22 seconds. I think my computer's freaking out because I've got, I'm live streaming maybe. And it just is taking a long time to do stuff. What? Oh, right. It needs to be the length plus 1 for the, like, help us, please. So we'll do that. Do 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 do. Oh, right, and we need to skip en. So we'll do where we could do this several ways. We'll just do filter x equals fallback locale. There we go. And we'll pull in the fallback locale. Nah, we'll just say if L is equal to fallback locale, then we'll return. Then we can get rid of that filter. We'll just do a for each with that. Imperative, I know, but that's just the way it's going to be. Okay, this is super fun. I'm so glad that 5 of you at least have thought that this is interesting enough to keep watching. Okay, so what else do we need to update or remove or fix? Okay, we got rid of that, and that's fine. I'm going to merge this as it is. Yeah. We're going to get rid of that snapshot altogether anyway. What? Yeah. ES and FR. I think I've got things mixed up. So it thought that it contained ES, but it actually contains FR. So that means this +1 should go. I think, okay, I think I need to like actually watch. So npm start t.w will do things in watch mode, so I'm not rerunning like a monkey. Okay, cool, there we go. Now we've removed the snapshot, and this file should no longer be 3,000 lines long. 100, much easier to review. Or it's actually useful. So that's nice. I honestly, here's another thing. I don't want this links to 0, upper locale chooser, mount. I want this to be HTML, this part, because I don't really care to see all this stuff. This isn't useful to me. Erg. So we're gonna do render. See if that breaks anything. I don't think it should. But that way, yeah, it'll just make our snapshot a little bit even easier to review. So here, I'll just update it blindly. Oh, because we can't simulate a click. That's what it is. So this one's fine, but this one needs to be mounted. So we're gonna call this, render locale chooser. Beep, 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 beep. And this one will be mount locale chooser. And we'll import mount, and we'll go mount. There we go. That should fix it. Okay, cool. So now our snapshot is much simpler. So you've got a div, and that div has a class, and then you have this button, and then inside of that is a div with an empty span, and then here are the styles that are associated with it, and we'll see when those change, and that's nice. Okay, cool. Great. So now I'm going to add all this stuff and commit, and I really totally don't care about the commit message. So update things. That is totally cool. If you want that to be your commit message, I don't care. I don't care, because what happens is when I merge things, I'm going to click this squash and merge button, which allows me to change the commit message anyway, and it squashes all of your commits to a single commit. So I'm totally cool if you want to do whatever, just don't break the code of conduct, and you're good. Okay, cool. So this is running our test, making sure things are good, and let's push those. I'm going to cancel this. I don't want to squash and merge that quite yet. Oh, and let's check out files changed. Refresh. Thank you, GitHub. Okay, so V8, and we have linked up CLI, and we made a huge change to the locale chooser snapshot. And here's some changes to this. I'm going to add a comment here that says, so we changed this so we don't have to update the tests every time we add a locale. So just add that comment to make things a little nicer. And I'll add using render instead of mount, so the snapshot is a little cleaner and doesn't test implementation details. Okay. Woo, German. This busted things when you run npm start build de, which would auto complete to npm start build dot default, or which would assume you wanted the default prefix, or you were prefixing for default. Assume you were prefixing for default, which we're not. We want to build the German version. Okay, add that, and auto formatting via prettier roll eyes, wink, smile. just so nobody has any idea what I actually intend by that comment. Okay. This busted tens of people and isn't worth investigating what's up. Okay, and yeah, cool. I think all that's good. So more comments. Add that. Okay, so once you have things, and like most of you, when you're doing translations, it's not going to be quite like this. It'll be, maybe you'll add something to config JSON if you're adding like a brand new locale or something. But other than that, you're just going to run with things. Yeah, like you should be totally fine to just leave most things as it is, and just focus on the translations. But yeah, you want to find somebody who knows the language natively, hopefully, and then get it reviewed. You'll iterate on it a little bit and make updates and stuff. And then when I get people who have reviewed it that say that it's good, then I will come down here and I'll click the squash and merge button, but not before the build is green. I will not merge something where the build is broken. I will help you make it so that the build is not broken anymore. And we'll just make sure that this one's not broken. Because I'm using a branch and not a fork, it's actually going to do a deployment for all locales, which is kind of cool. It doesn't actually give it a nice alias or anything, but yeah, if you're not pushing from a fork, then you can look at the deployed version. Sweet. And we can go to basics and see, yeah, that. One other cool thing, just fun fact, we have this build info.json. Whoops. JSON. And that will give us like the branch, the locale, build number, commit SHA. So useful information. So we know about interesting stuff about the deployment, which is pretty cool. Okay, cool. So it looks like the build is succeeding. I'm going to go ahead and squash and merge this. And somebody please come in and fix my German translations because I don't know German. One other thing that we probably should have done but didn't do is the locale chooser has a flag for each locale. And we should probably add an SVG for that. So when you come in to do that, we get these SVGs from, I can't remember where, but I'll find out. Right here, flag, country flags, lipiz / flags, I guess. So here we'll go de.svg. And we'll, yeah, sweet. So we'll get the raw, we'll save this. Here, I'll just save it to my desktop so I can drag and drop it right into here. And then I'll import de.svg from svgs de.svg. And then we'll add something to this map locale. We'll add a case, and this might get refactored. I'm not huge on switch statements, so I might refactor this eventually to like just an object. But for now, oh, what the heck, we'll refactor it right now. So I'm going to make locale map equals this thing, and en will be this thing. Yeah, okay, and this is going to be es, and then we have fr, these things, and help is going to be these things. And the default is what we're seeing for German right now, where the display is the key, which was a good idea, good foresight. Okay, then we're going to add our de to here, key, display, let's see, how do you spell German? How do you spell German in German? Yeah, nice. Display is that thing. And the flag is SVG. Yeah. And we'll do SVG style. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're gonna just change this up just a little bit. We'll capitalize flag and get rid of all that stuff, all this duplication stuff. Okay, that's the flag component. Here, then we'll return locale map key or default. And that needs to be right here, right? Okay, then our SVG style thing, we're gonna pull out our flag. We're gonna do flag. Here, let's just do SVG style right here. Right, okay. And this needs to be a capital F for flag. And then flag here will be capital F, flag, flag. All capital Fs. Yeah, okay, sweet. So then, well, let's see. Yeah, I think we should be good. So let's go ahead and npm start dev. We'll do locale is de, just to do our German friend here. Kind of wondering if this key is necessary. I guess probably. Where we use that key? Oh yeah, right there, key. All right. Okay, cool. So then we'll go to localhost 3000. It's gonna build our index. Blu-ray is saying I use React-Intel for translations, and I think React-Intel is awesome. I have a couple reasons why we didn't use React-Intel here. One of the biggest reasons is can you imagine even with React-Intel writing out your stuff for that was a bad example, for something like this, like write that inside of your JavaScript files. It's not great. I would much rather put it right in Markdown files. The other thing is I'm hoping that eventually we can use a tool that will make this translation easier. And if we used React-Intel, then we'd have to have an extra build step or something to make it so we could use those tools, which I didn't really like doing something like that either. So yeah, React-Intel is awesome. I recommend you do it for non-content heavy sites where there's not tons of content to be translated. But yeah, in our case, tons of content. So we didn't do that. But anyway, here we go. We have a busted something. What happened? Expected string. What? It's probably something to do with my flag refactor. Whoa, what happened here? Oh, there we go. Glamorous. Did you know if you pop open the dev tools, you get to see this cool thing, which is fun. Okay, so where is that happening? Source map detected. Okay, so let's try that again. So we'll click on that. Boom. Jump back up to this thing, and flag is undefined. That is coming from here. Flag is undefined. That's coming from here. Map locale for help. Help has no flag. Aha. Yes. Okay. So we need a no-op flag. That's fine. We can do that. Const no op. Okay, who am I kidding? I prefer function declarations. Function noop flag. Well, this will return null. And so then the here we'll just have that actually. Oh goodness, you know what we'll do instead? This will be better. We'll just have flag default to a function that returns null. There we go. I'm fine with that. So we'll re-render this thing, refresh, build it using fallback. That's cool. And then when we click on this guy, yeah, nice. Look at that. That's so cool. I want to get as many flags as possible on there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add all the things, and then I'm going to stash them because I'm going to change to the master branch, which now has the latest German translations. Then I'm actually just going to commit or get stash pop, get my stuff, get add, and then we'll get commit all the things to update locale, cal chooser with German flag. Git push. Let's hope that it works, because I did a git push at the end. No, that'll be fine. If it doesn't work, then git push will not run. Well, it will, but I don't have any changes, so it's fine. Okay, cool. So I kinda sorta started on this, but I don't know German. Who wants to help? Provide a helpful little link here. Documentation. Okay, sweet. Broken. What failed? Span undefined. Why would it do that? I wonder. That is odd. It's when it's closed. Okay. Oh, so we map locale. Oh no. We don't want this. Wait. Okay, yeah. So the key will default to the fallback locale. There we go. That'll fix it. And so actually we're going to want npm start t.watch to update our snapshot, because now it's going to say, oh, English, sure. So yeah, my computer's like freaking out, like, oh my goodness. So that is what the English or the American flag looks like in SVG, which I'm totally cool with, by the way. It's kind of big, but it's won't see too many updates to that thing. It's pretty easy to review that. It's like, oh, SVG for United States. And that explains why it was 3,000 lines long, now I think about it. Okay, cool. So now we'll add things, and we'll do that same commit message. We'll just make sure nothing breaks. Okay. Yeah. We'll just make sure nothing breaks. I don't want to push anything that's going to be broken. So this is taking like way longer than I expected. How long have I been running this? Over an hour. My wife's going to be like, what happened to you? Okay. Let's just check my notifications. Yeah, got pipeline operator, something cool going on there. Got some stuff here. Ooh, search for functionality, accessibility of docs pages. Yeah. Okay, I can read that later. CocoBot, nice. Sweet, already started something. You're the best. I love open source. So fun. Thank you. We're gonna have a search by Angolia or Algolia. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, could be. Okay, cool. How are we doing? Ah, rats. Busted. What? Okay, minus means that's what's in this snapshot, right? Yeah. So in the test, when we run it, oh, because the locale is set to something. Okay, I wonder what would happen. Let's update our test.js, or no, package scripts test. So we'll update our test to include a locale of en. Just to be explicit here, even though we should be like defaulting it everywhere. We'll do that. And actually, well, let's just see what happens. Oh no, I don't want to wait forever. So we're going to do npm start t.watch, test.watch. And we'll run it on everything. I should have just run it on locale chooser. No. Locale chooser. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we'll run everything. And if this passes, then I'm going to be like 99% sure that everything's fine. I'm just going to push this. Because we haven't even released this thing yet, so I'm totally cool with that. Cool, okay. So let's add stuff, commit all the things, update locale, or hey, I had a commit message already. Yeah, and then we're going to do no verify, push that. Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay, cool. And so since we're here, just chatting away, let me just show you what happens when you push or when something gets into master. So we kick off a Travis build, and we does all of its Travis-y things. But we're going to install Node A. We have this handy thing called await URL, which we could probably get rid of now. But then we have this script called validate and build, and that actually is a little inaccurate because it also releases. But let's look at that script because it does a bunch of stuff. Validate and build right here, and it runs concurrently. Validate and build. So we have this, validate, which runs lint, flow, and tests concurrently, and then build runs all the builds for all the locales concurrently, which is why we have an open issue to eventually set some sort of max limit on how many things you can run concurrently, because eventually I expect we'll have like, I don't know, 10 languages, and that might be a little bit much for Travis to run like lint, flow, test, validate, and and all of those locales. That might just be a little bit much to run concurrently, so maybe good to not run all those things. Yeah, so as part of the build, we're going to set the locale and specify disable cache, just because if you don't do that, then next we'll say, oh, none of your source files changed, so I'm just going to use the cache. Well, yes, but we want to use a different locale, so yeah, we disable the cache. And that actually is not something that Next really supports directly. You have to, I have something in the Next config that references that for disabling cache. It's kind of hacky, but it works. And then we have this build, so where the build will go, and then where the static export will go. And then we have our script. I should probably just not have a default and just be serious. But anyway, we're going to remove the build and the target directories. Then we're going to recreate the build directory, which I don't know why Next doesn't do that, but it doesn't. And then we're going to run next build, next export to that target. And then we'll run the build get build info, which allows us to get that /buildinfo.json. And then if we're on CI, then we'll run now Travis, which now Travis is actually a package. I forked that, and like I have an internal fork of that has some things specific for us, which are kind of handy. But anyway, once it's all done, everything's good. So we should actually be able to go to de.rc.glamorous.rocks, and we'll see the German version that we added with our German flag. Woo! So we did that together, and like I said, this is not going to be most of your experience. Lots of this was me realizing that the workflow wasn't as optimal. So yeah. Okay, so there are a couple other things, or just one other thing I wanted to show you for this experience, and that is this other script that you can run, and we can find it referenced in the other/contributing documentation. And it's node space what changed. Okay, so here I'm just going to do something. Here first we'll do node other list L10N for DE, and we can see that we have something that's up to date, we have stuff that needs translation, and we have something that's outdated. Well, let's say that we come along and we change the getting started MD file in English to like have stuff, I don't know, anything. And we're going to go ahead and commit that stuff, no verify that. And now I'm going to rerun, and we commit it, we push it, we merge it, everything's good, and then you pull to see what's updated. Then you run that list thing and you see, oh, I have nothing up to date, tons of stuff I still need to translate, and I have this thing's outdated. Well, it's one thing to know that something's outdated. It's an entirely different thing to know what changed. So we have a what changed thing script that you can run, and that is kind of handy. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to we paste in the English translated or the English version of that file. Might be better just not to do that, actually. So make sure you check this contributing documentation. I might actually change it where you can specify your translated version, and it'll give this to you. But in our case, this is what we do: English version, and then the locale we care about, and it's going to show you every commit that happened on that file from the last time that file was updated for your locale. So here it was only one, but it could be like multiple commits, and that should show you exactly what changed, what you need to take into account when you're making your updates, which is pretty cool considering we don't have a tool like an official really awesome tool. It's kind of handy just for our cases. So I'm gonna reset hard origin master. So cool. That's it. So I shared a ton more stuff, so this probably won't be watched by a whole lot of people because it is now an hour and a half long, but I hope it was helpful for the handful of folks who are still watching, the 5 of you. Thanks for checking it out. If you do speak another language and speak English well enough to do translations, then I would be so grateful for you to help out. I think that accessibility is a very important thing, and localization is a very important part of accessibility that I don't think we normally group those things, but I really think that's the case. So anyway, thanks very much, and if you want to, there are tons of places where we could use some help in the docs, even just like copying over old docs to the new docs, so like stuff from the readme to this new stuff. That would be really nice. So thanks so much, and I'll see you all around. Bye.